Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. I have some chicken breasts here and I'm just filleting them, and I thought I'd chat with you before we get going in all of this. And I'm also going to do something different. I made a herb blend for wild game, but I'm going to use it on chicken. I don't know how it's going to come out, but we're going to work on it. I was cutting and I was just thinking how there was a time that a man and a woman, they had the skills that they had. She knew how to sew, she knew how to knit, she knew how to crochet, she knew how to cook, she knew how to can. She knew a lot of things. All right, I'm just generalizing on it. And then when you think about the men, the women are looking for men. If you have a hunter, you get some wild games, you get some beautiful meats, because most hunters will know how to dress the meat. Dress means to cut it up, smoke it, and everything else. And then, if you have a farmer, you learn to deal with animals, and he grows food, which is fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. So that's a lovely gift that a man has to provide for his family. And then you think about other things, like women used to do the medicine in the house. That was her job. She had to know her herbs and what you could go buying for medicine. Pharmaceutical, some companies do it now. And if something needed to be mended or repaired in the house, the man did it. You have to call contractors now. Men had a lot of skills, and women had a lot of skills. And what they didn't know, they would ask. You know, men would get together to find out. Women, same thing. They get together and try to figure it out. But we are losing these skills at an unbelievable rate. You sit in front of the computer, and you take orders. If men needed furniture, they made it. And you think of all of this that we have lost. Society says, this is what you can eat. You can't eat this. You can't do this. You can't do anything. And men and women, when they wanted time off, they didn't have to get permission and file that I'm going to take 2 weeks off for vacation or anything else. They just took the day and enjoyed themselves. So they did their chores and they had the rest of the day to themselves. Was it hard? What did I tell you? Excuse me 1 minute. So when you think about it, were times hard? Yes, but they were survivalists. They really, really were. They knew how to make things work. I was talking with, because I'm an older woman, I was talking with some older women, and we were talking about what we have lost as a society. If something happened, and think about this, if something happened and we lost everything, what would these young women know for survival skills? The majority of them would know nothing. What would the men know? They know how to sit in front of a computer, punch buttons, get information, but they have no skills. They have no hunting skills. They have no basic skills at anything of building and construction. Women have no idea how clothes are put together. I've seen them go to the dry cleaners to sew a button on because they don't know how to sew a simple button on. If something gets a little tear in it, they trash it. They don't know how to mend. I hate mending, believe you me. Father knows I hate mending. Get a sewing machine, I start to make, and the first thing I know is my family starts coming at me mending. I said, I just mended this, and I have to mend it again. No, I won't do it. And now they put elastic in, and I've got a lovely sewing machine, and I can't find material that's natural. And I don't want to sew with a serger. I don't want to sew with elastic. This all came about because women were getting heavy, and they felt embarrassed that they had to sit there and acknowledge their real weight. and their size. They didn't want to see that. So they wanted to stay petite, and they'll sit there and say, I am a size 10. When really there's a size 14 or 16, but they don't want to see it. But they can sit there and buy clothes that say a size 10, but it's elastic, so it stretches, and you're still a 16. You can't hide it. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. So we have lost a lot of skills, even in cooking. I watch it all the time. I can't believe what I see. It comes right across my news feed. Not that I want to see it. It comes across my news feed. I see them, and then I see how they do you. They sit there and say, if you want the recipe, you have to subscribe. That's not helping people. I know they want to make money. I understand that. But not everybody can be a millionaire, and not everybody can be poor and everything else. We have classes. Our class, we used to have, you'd have the lower class, which was lower class, middle, lower class, upper middle class. Then you had middle class, you had lower middle class, middle class, and upper middle class. Then you had the upper class, and that was the lower upper class, the middle upper class, and the upper class. And after that, you have the billionaires, I guess. Anyway, we all had our section of where we were. We knew. And just all of these things are just being thrown away. And society's getting lost. They have no idea. But the thing is in spite of all of that, all those men in those classes knew certain things. Standard. They stood, they did what they had to do. Women, no matter how poor or how wealthy, you knew what a needle and thread was, and you dang well knew how to use it. These skills are lost. What they teach in school isn't worth it anymore. I think you'd be better off out of school sometimes than on a farm and learning how to take responsibilities and everything else. But anyway, these skills that we have lost, if anything happens in this country, we are totally, forgive the terminology, but this country is screwed. And that will be a downfall. And we will be no better than, we will be thrown back, I guess. This will be an extreme, but I can say back to the Ice Age. So I hope someday we get back on track, but I don't know. But anyway, let's get these chicken slices. I would call these cutlets, but my cutlets don't look like cutlets. But anyway, they're cut thin like a cutlet, and we're going to use some wild game seasoning, see how they come out. Now I'm going to put some buttermilk on these. I've already rinsed them and patted them dry before I started cutting them. And why do I do that? We were taught, anybody my age knows you're going to rinse it, because where they butcher the livestock, that's what I'm going to call it, livestock, a lot of it goes through, and they don't clean those blades till the end of the day, so everybody rinses it off, and we clean it up, we pat it dry, and then it's ready to cook. And that's why we do it, because we don't know about contamination. We just do the very best that we can, and that's what we do. Even if you go hunting and you skin it and everything and you pack it and all, a woman, when she gets it, she's going to wash it and she's going to pat it dry, because even with them doing that, there can be contamination, so you just keep on doing it. All right, so let me get some buttermilk and we'll get the seasonings going. We're going to see how these things taste. Take it for now. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Okay, I'll turn you down. You can see I've got them all in here. I'm going to add some buttermilk to them and toss them. I can't wait till I can make yogurt again. And why we add a little bit is to make sure that seasonings are going to stick to it, as well as that flour. So when you fry them up, the seasonings and flours don't fall off. You can use egg, but I find the egg is best, and as much as I beat it to make sure it's thoroughly blended, when I sit there and I go to, I'll put the seasonings on, put it in the flour, and it starts sliding off. So I found out that yogurt and buttermilk do a much better job at holding and containing. So that's why I use it. Okay, now we're going to try these seasonings. I mean, they smell so good. Why would I want to just put it in one area, you know? And besides, I don't get wild game like I used to. I mean, my father would definitely be a hunter. My husband was. Except what he hunted was a little different. Because he was a soldier, he hunted men. But he was getting stuff together. We were leaving the metropolitan area because he knew I love the country. I don't know if I gave you this mixture. I hope I did, but if I didn't, when I make it again, you'll know it because I will do a video on it. But I thought I gave it to you. I want to make sure they're fully and thoroughly coated. Yes, do I spend money on seasonings? Yes, I do. I even can't find some of them, and I have to buy them in the bulk. This is where you see the bags that I buy. And I said, well, I'll keep the bottle. And when the bottle empties, I'll sit there and refill it. Because after COVID, I found out that I can't find stuff. So I have to sit there and go in a different route. Like, I got stuff to make lunch and meat. I'm just waiting for the book to come in. Because I have some recipes. And I found out they have smoked salts. I can't wait to try these. I know you can't see me talking, but you can hear me because I'm going to have to move stuff again so we can get around here. So I look forward to that cookie coming in whenever it gets its little buns in here, so I can try that. I already bought a meat press. I'm getting these other things together. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these and I'm going to coat them in the flour. Now this is my leftover flour. I sifted it. You know that I sift it, and I put it in a bowl with a lid, and I keep it on the counter. So every time I need to flour something, I just keep on taking the flour back and I sift it. It's got seasonings and stuff in, but I didn't have enough this time, so I added some wheat flour and wheat germ to it to give me some volume. So I hope I have enough to do the chicken with. So as you can see, I'm just flouring. That's all I'm doing. Not doing anything spectacular. And we'll see how it comes out with this wild game mixture. You read a recipe and they say breaded, this is what they mean, is to flour it. That's another term you have to learn. In the old cookbooks, they'll say breaded. What do they mean breaded? They actually mean doing this. Okay, I've got more I have to do, but I can't right now because I got this full. So I push them to the side and we'll get a frying pan and get ready to fry these up so I can get more breaded. So if you read the recipe that says breaded, they mean to flour them. Season and flour them. And then when some of them are explicit, they'll tell you to beat an egg if you're reading old recipes. Just according to the time frame of recipes that you have will dictate a lot of this, but that's called breaded. Doesn't mean put bread, but if you want to use breadcrumbs, you can. But it usually means, you know, you're just going to coat it with flour, breadcrumbs, cornmeal, or something. You're going to coat it. Let me get my pan. Another phrase I'll show you right here. I am drenching them. That's another term. They'll say drench in flour. That also means breaded. They just two different words. Okay, but they needed a second coat, so I am breading them a second time. Because you can see as it dries on it, you can see that it's still too moist to go in and fry. So you do it again a second time. I'm going to get these started. Oh, and I only used 3 chicken breasts. My son came in with a surprise. I was so happy. He said, "Mommy, look what I found." I said, "Oh, thank you." Okay, now if you want to give veal cutlets, wiener schnitzels, chicken cutlets, or anything a different taste that you're going to cook quickly, use butter and oil. You will be surprised the taste. A woman was frying up cutlets and she said, I said, "How did you do it?" And we were just talking, and she said, I do it up in olive oil. I said, "You know, the French mix their oils and butters together when they cook, which gives them that unique taste." I said, "Try adding some butter. You might be surprised." Her family didn't want it just fried in olive oil anymore. No, you got to do that in butter and oil because they could taste it. And when it's olive oil and butter, it has a rich taste. Another combination that I like very much is peanut oil and butter. That'll surprise you. Now, if you use margarine, I cannot guarantee what it will taste like. I use butter. But for you who use butter, I use unsalted butter because, like I said, salt is a drying compound, and I don't mind adding it after something has cooked. Then that way it doesn't draw out all the fluids, because if they do, you end up with the meat tougher. So I just figured, you know what, I'll just do it after. So I just use seasonings. I did not add salt or pepper to the cutlets. I just breaded them and put them on the rack after I seasoned them and used the buttermilk and drenched them a second time. And I'll be frying them up. Just very, very simple. Yeah, it's fun to play with it. Oh. You know, one of the biggest joys is to get up in the morning when you have your windows open and you watch the day begin. Water in the butter. You see that? That's how you know. You'll start talking. Is to listen to the animals wake up and watch the sunrise. I used to love having it with coffee, but now I can't, so I have it with mushroom coffee now. But that's just as good, and I don't have any problems with it. But it's nice. It's so peaceful and so quiet, as they say, as Mother wakes up. And that's how I was taught. If you don't like the way I say it, I am sorry. That's how I was taught. It's Mother Earth. She gives all life, so therefore, she is Mother. So when she wakes up, and everybody's waking up, it's so nice. And then it's over with. The radios start blaring. And all that tranquility I was enjoying goes right out the door. And as I was talking how we've lost so much, the children had their parents there, right? They had their father there. They had it all there. So it was a unit that worked together. And you had generations of families that in the house. They didn't send them out, the elderly, to a nursing home. They didn't send them somewhere out of the way. They all learned to work together. And as the woman got older, if she couldn't get the cooking done, she became the nanny watching the grandchildren, or the great-grandchildren, but she was watching the children. That was her job. I don't want them to stick. So I'm going to keep frying these up like this, give them a double drenching of flour, and we'll see how they come out at the end. Okay, here they are, all done. Take care and enjoy your day.